just say, please do ask questions in between times. Don't just let me ramble on. If I've gone too quick, especially, please say so, because there's nothing worse than someone zipping through something and you've missed what they've clicked on. So please do bring me back to something and say, can you do it again, or what have you?
I will do, yes, thank you.
Because from my experience, people zip through things they're familiar with, and when you've not seen it before, you need to slow down. So I'll try and be slow, but please do bring me back if you need it. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's great.
Or raise a hand. There's the raise a hand bit if you don't want to verbally interrupt. So welcome to Darlington College anyway, even though you've been here on a temporary basis for a while, and we haven't met. I'm sure we will, like Wayne says. So my area is across two areas, really. I teach, as I said earlier, I was teaching Access Social Science, so I teach on Access Social Science, so that I teach English language on that, and I teach sociology, and I also teach on the health access course as well. I teach professional practice, and I will be teaching, I think it's Humans Against Disease this year. Because I do that, the two types, is because I have had 25 years plus experience in the NHS as a nurse, a sonographer and a technologist, plus I've got an English degree as well, so I cross both areas. So my other main role is teaching on health and social care level 3 certificate. So that's the first year of the 2-year programme that gets students into university to do health care courses such as nursing and midwifery and that sort of thing. So that's the 16 to 18-year-olds that I teach, and do the adult access course to higher education as well. So, and like you, I started at Darlington College doing a few V100 hours in the English department with Lois. So that was about 4 years ago now. So I did that for a few weeks before I was able to get the health and social care role. So I'm fairly new to teaching as well. I've only been teaching for those 4 years or so. Did my teacher training in Darlington College part-time over the 2 years as I was working in the NHS at the time. So for me, it's been a learning curve of teaching and then technology. And although I'm not a digital native, as they say, I have a strong interest in it. I'm not a techie person in the traditional sense. I don't do coding and I don't do anything like that, but I do find this sort of thing quite interesting, and I like to have a play with new things. And I think part of the fun of it is having a play with something to see if it's useful. Can it fit into your working day? Because I find that we've got so little time. We don't want to be making anything too laborious. But if the little bit of effort that goes into it pays off in the longer term, and you can see that, then it's worth investing in my view anyway, investing in a little bit of ed tech, just to see if you can give a bit of a variety to your teaching methods. And certainly with the online learning that we're doing, although we hope once the vaccine's been distributed and we can all perhaps get back to some kind of normality, I still think there'll be a role for online learning, because we've opened the stable door now. It's going to be quite difficult to go back to no online learning. And I think there is a role for online learning, and some of these tools I think are quite useful. So have you looked at all at Edpuzzle, even one, do you think?
No, I haven't. I've not heard of it, Pamela. That's why I thought we'll come and find out what it's all about. So I'm completely starting from scratch.
That's absolutely fine. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and then I'll show you Edpuzzle. So I'll show you from the accessing it and finding it to to using it and editing something. So I'll split my screen. So I just need to present my screen, and then we can get started. So you should see the landing page for the Edpuzzle in a moment, if it hasn't already arrived.
Yes, I can see that.
You can see that, great. So like a lot of these tools, they're integrated with Google. I've come across this, and I do spend not a lot of time, but I do probably more time than I should on Twitter looking at EdTech stuff, following teachers and other EdTech demonstrators and people, because I find it interesting, and you pick up different ideas and different ways of doing things. So this is where I came across it, and I thought I'll have a go at that. I'll have a look at that. So you'll just log in, in the login page, and obviously you are a teacher. And because it's linked to your Google account, your Darlington College at darlingtoncollege.ac.uk, use a Google account, sign in with your Google account rather than uploading into the username and password. And just click into your account. It'll ask you for permissions. It takes a moment to load, and then you're in it. Okay.
Did you? Sorry, Pamela. Question already. Did you just say use your Darlington College account or don't?
Yes, use it. Click in, but use the login with Google button rather than typing in your username and password. So yeah, log in with Google, and then it'll say which account do you want. Because I personally have a Google personal account, and you choose your work account. So then it brings you into the Edpuzzle format and your basis of where you want to be, really. So you've got your content page.
Right.
And in here, you've got your home page, which gives you what's trending, gives you different suggestions, what's trending in England and in the UK. So you can look at that, but I tend to just end up on the My Content page. So the idea behind Edpuzzle is that it is a video sourcing and editing system, and what you can do with it is use a video you've either created yourself and uploaded and added questions or audio to, and it becomes an interactive learning resource then. Or you can do, which I've also done, is draw on the ready-made videos from various places like Edpuzzle themselves, YouTube, Khan Academy, and we'll go through a few of those. And they are already there for you to use, licensed for you to use. Some are already got questions embedded in them because other people have edited them, made them public, and you can then just use that. Or you can start from scratch and edit your own version and create your own questions in it. So it's for videos. So all sorts of different videos, different topics, different reasons. So in your section down here, you've got your home page, which we're on now. And then if you click curriculum, you can pick middle school, elementary, high school. Now, I personally haven't used it this way because I've just gone through the search because I had a very specific reason in mind that I was looking for. So, for example, PE and health, you can find, let's have a look at aging, ageism, and it then brings down people's videos. So this is looks like somebody's PowerPoint they've uploaded, and they've recorded their own video and used it, but made it public. And this looks like a TV show that somebody's recorded and put on. So there's various options of finding things, but again, you can just go into the search box and type in. So I've previously searched metaphor, and you can search and it'll bring up videos that are related to that. So you can see when you pick up a video, you've got these little bubbles here, eight questions stroke notes. Okay, so you can put questions in that they must answer, the students, or you can put notes in. So if you wanted to reinforce a message or wanted to put something in, you can put a note in, or you can put an audio in for that. But we'll come on to that. I'll show you one of my videos that I've done. And if there isn't anything, then the video is still usable, but somebody hasn't put any questions into it. So therefore you can add your own as well. Okay. And even if they have already put questions in, you can still edit it and edit those questions, edit the answers, and also add further or take some away. So it's completely editable, which is great. It's quite flexible in that way. I like that. When you click on Darlington College, or for anyone who watches this, their organisation will be here, not just Darlington College, obviously. And you can look to see who's using it in your college, and you can have access to the content that's available. And actually, most of it's mine. There's a colleague, Steph, who's got her Introduction to Psychology. Look on the 5 teachers, you can see that another health and social care tutor, and one here, Wayne, and myself and Steph. So there's not many people And if you choose to use it and log in, your name will come up here as well. But because it's a shared resource, you know, if you were using it and you felt somebody else had done a video that you liked, you could just pick it up from that department. But obviously it's quite limited at the moment. And then we come to my content. So my content is, as it suggests, some things that you have already used or plan to use or are copied from the main site. Okay, so all of these videos to do with health, I've taken from YouTube, and they have already been edited and questions in there. So
by yourself, Pamela?
A mixture of both. So some of them I've edited and done myself. Some I've just lifted straight out, and this is one of the good things about it. It can be very quick. You know, a 5-minute video that you would watch to check that it had everything in it that you wanted, and has it got the sorts of questions that you would ask in it, takes you 10 minutes maybe. A 5-minute video probably takes you 10 minutes by the time you've looked at the questions and things. And you can then say, okay, that's usable. And although it's a 5-minute video and you think, well, that's not a very big task, in actual fact, it probably takes them a little bit longer to process that information. Yes. But again, it's not. I've used it in different ways, and I'll tell you a bit more about that in a minute. But I think it's like lots of these things. They're not necessarily a silver bullet to the lesson. It's an adjunct to what you want to teach them, and it's a different way of getting them into that topic. Because obviously some learners prefer visual learning. They prefer to sit and listen to a video rather than your voice. But you can do it the other way, and I've got my own videos down here, which I've done for Access, which I did, but I'll show you one of those in a minute.
Also, do you think, Pamela, as well, like you say with the video, like you when you started off saying to me, stop me, and I can repeat it. With a video, you can sit down with, like, I've got a notepad, cup of tea, you can watch it, you can stop, you can go back again. Did I hear that correctly?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely, yeah.
You can access it again for reinforcement, can't you, at your own speed?
Yes, definitely. And the feedback that I've had, you know, I am very new to using this as well. Please don't think I'm an expert on it at all. I've used it over the last 4 weeks, 5 weeks, but not very often. But the feedback I've had from the people who've used it across different topics, the Access, social science and health and social care, I've used it for anatomy and physiology, you can see. The feedback has been that they like to be able to do that. They like to be able to stop it, write some notes down, get the facts down, get the answers down, if you like, get their notes in order, which they can't do so easily in a lesson. So it's not that it's going to replace a lesson as such, but it will be there to reinforce information, give key facts, give them an opportunity to process information as well, like you say, get those notes down. The only downside, well, it's not the only downside, there are a couple of downsides of the system, is that once you've done the video test, unless your tutor resets it, you can't redo the questions. You can rewatch the video, but you can't redo the questions to get a better score. But that is a little niggle, really. But I think the value of it overrides that for me at the moment. However, so to get those videos, then you can choose Edpuzzle. So I'll just have a look at Edpuzzle first of all. And again, it's, you know, you've got your search bar. You can filter by section. So should we have a look at something in English? What could we look at? Literature and language arts. What would you suggest, Joanne?
Oh, they've just been looking at, well, the pedal paragraphs. So I don't know really. What are they doing? They were talking about creating atmosphere and tone in their writing when they do their creative writing.
So should we try creative writing?
Yeah.
See what that brings up. And this is what I found. It's a bit of trial and error. See what tags people have put on their videos. So you've got a creative writing prompt. You've got something on creative writing. Looks like somebody's done a little video of their own. Let's have a look at something brief. Let's have a look at this one. It's only a minute, and nobody's edited it or done anything with it. So we can click on that. And you can see then that you can just play it. It's come from YouTube. You can edit it, you can copy it, you can assign it to your classroom, and you can then link your classrooms, your Google Classrooms, to this, so it assigns it for you, and you can share a preview. So if you were to edit it, let's say we've watched it over a minute, we've watched it and we want to use it. And we can then click on, then it brings you to the editing tool. Now in this editing tool, you can see that you can play it, and you can also move this along to play, oh, sorry, this bit along to play certain sections. And you can stop it and put in a voiceover. Blocked to comply with, so we're not able to do a voiceover. That's a shame. Not in Darlington College anyway, but other people might be able to. I haven't obviously done voiceovers, but I have done questions, and I've used all three. So I've used a multiple choice question. So if you were to use this, for example, you could maybe put down, I'm just making something up, give an example of when you might use your imagination. And then if you wanted them to think open-mindedly about it, you can change that to an open-ended question, and then they can just write what they like in that. Okay. If you wanted to make it a multiple choice question, you could then give them a right or wrong answer. So a question, what is imagination? And the right answer is something you make up in your mind. And your wrong answer would be facts from the government, say, for example. So then what that would do would be when you assign that video and they go through that video, when they get to this point, you can set it, when you do your settings, that they can't skip that question. They have to answer it. Because it's a multiple choice question, it will mark it for you. So as long as you are happy that that is the correct answer, you can change them, swap them around. But as long as you have given them a multiple choice question, then they will select the right, wrong, or the wrong one, and it will mark it for you, which is one of the excellent tips, I think, of it, because I've been using it for anatomy and physiology, and it is absolutely based in facts. And so you can set it, you don't have to manually mark it, you can easily see what people do and don't understand. And I'll show you the grade book and the mark book when I show you one of my videos.
Okay.
So that's useful. And when you've done that, you can save, let's save that one. And then we can move the video on a little bit further. And if you wanted to cut a section or cut the end, you can drag it along. Let's say we wanted to finish it there. Then you can, when it's loaded, it should be able to cut, have the option to cut it. Been a bit of my internet I'm in the upstairs corridor. It's obviously going a bit slow, but you can cut sections from it so that if you don't need it all, you don't need it all, and then you can shorten it. So obviously, when you've done what you need to do with that, add as many questions as you like. You can add a note to it so that you can just put a comment in it. In theory, you can add images, but I've found it problematic because the image doesn't fit in the box very easily. So I've avoided doing that. I've already tried it once. You can also add hyperlinks, but again, I haven't done that, but just because I haven't done that yet. I have put a couple of notes in though, but I've mostly done multiple choice questions because of the thing that I've been using it for.
Would you maybe, Pamela, put a note to play at the beginning to sort of remind them what you're, to focus on the main thing that you're looking for?
Yeah, absolutely. You could do that. Yeah. Or to reinforce a point, or use it for anything that makes sense to you. And I think that's the beauty of it. You can tailor it to what you would like to do really with it.
Yeah.
And it does very much depend on the type of it doesn't want to play on that cut. I think it's the internet is struggling. But you get the idea really, that it's done that. So you've done your editing and you just want to finish and save it, and then it's in your content. It's there in your content. So you can go back to your content and there it is. Okay.
All right. Okay.
So once you've edited it, it just goes in there. Later on, I'll delete this because one of the downsides of this is that it, as the free version, your login version is free to start with, is only up to 20 videos per user. So of course, that's quite limiting. You can see I'm already those, but I've got a few more in there. So I'll delete that one later when I've finished doing this. However, hopefully the college will sign up to get a professional licenses so that we can have more. So you can pick you've got different channels to pick from. YouTube is the one I tend to use for anatomy and physiology because there's so much choice. Khan Academy is quite good, but again, that's quite science-based. Khan Academy. Maths as well, good for maths. National Geographic, TED Talks. I'm not sure about Veritasium. I've never used it, and I'm guessing that's also maths-based number file. Crash Course does an awful lot of things like psychology and health-related videos. So they also do other types of like sociology crash courses and things like that. But as with a lot of these, they're American-based. So if you don't particularly like American-based, that's problematic. But you can create your own content. So I'll show you one of my own videos. And this happens to be the Access Social Science one. So what I did was used video recording system called Loom.
Right.
And again, it's on Google. It's linked to your Google accounts. You can create it, use it as an add-on from the Google Chrome extension store. So you can record your own videos. So that's what I did. So I'll briefly show you this because I've got my voice on it and I don't particularly like my voice, even though this is being recorded, but never mind. So you can see that we were looking at this and I did this out of necessity rather than experiment, if you like. So I did this because I kind of had to, because we'd suddenly gone into a lockdown. I was with the social science students and I couldn't afford not to give them some tuition on this task. So what I did was my lesson slides and talked through the lesson slides. So lecture style, I'll very briefly play you a little bit.
So this is influence, connotation, simile and metaphor part 2. We looked at a lot of examples of metaphor in the newspaper headlines, and hopefully you would have been able to.
Okay, so you can hear that the sound isn't very good. And that was because I was just talking into it. I didn't have a headset or anything. So I've now since bought a headset. So if I was to do it again, hopefully the sound would be much better. But what I did was then talk through the lesson as I would have done it live, as it were. But then once I'd uploaded that through Loom, uploaded it into Edpuzzle, then I could edit it and put in the questions. So you can see on this side, you can see where I put my questions and they're all open-ended. And this is because I was encouraging them to do some inference, give me some thoughts of their own. So this is what it looked like. So I gave them an image and asked them what do they infer, and gave them some instructions on the open-ended questionnaires about what I wanted them to consider. So when they watched it, that's what they did. They had to stop, think about the image, and then write their responses in there.
Right.
So that's how I did this lesson. So that's different to the anatomy and physiology. Obviously, it doesn't self-mark because it's an open-ended question. You have to then go into it yourself in your grade book and either respond to that as a comment, which you can do, or mark it as correct or incorrect, 100%, or you can adjust the grade amount for that. So when I did the video, I edited it to include these questions. Okay, so again, I just edited it, and you can see that I've got these open-ended questions at these points, and that can take you straight to that one again, asking them to write a paragraph explaining what the viewer can infer. So it was all about getting them to think about images, to think about language and connotation and inference in preparation for their assignment that we're going to do in a few weeks after that. So you can use it in different ways. You can pick up a ready-made video already edited by somebody else that they've shared, or you can create your own editable video by uploading your own content and then putting your own questions in. And it depends on what you want to do. Do you want them to be thoughtful and ask them open-ended questions, or do you want to ask them yes or no questions, right or wrong questions with your multiple choice? So it's quite flexible, I think, in that sense, really.
Can I just check, Pamela, that obviously we're seeing this as the teacher's point of view, and you said with the students, it won't play any further until they answer that question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can see it obviously as a teacher at this stage. And,
yes. So this is our teacher end of the editing and things. Yeah. But even once you've created it and used it once, you can still edit it and you can still cut it. And if you think, well, I don't want that anymore, you can delete that question. So go into your questions, and you can, if you see a little editing button, you can edit that or change the question. You can change it even here. You can change it to a multiple choice question or not. Or you can even delete that question and delete it for you. And you can also add, at this point, you can add a further note or a question, or an audio if you were allowed audio in there as well. So it's like a lot of Google things, it saves automatically, but you need to complete it and finish to say that you finished editing it. And again, it sits back into your content in your grade book. So to be able to assign this then to your students, you want to be able to connect your Google Classroom to the account. So you need to go into My Classes.
Okay.
And because I've already done it, and the first time you do it, you won't have any, obviously you won't have any classes, but what you will have is an opportunity to connect to Google Classroom.
Right.
Because I've already done it, I can't go back on it, if that makes sense. I've already done that, so it's already recognizes that I'm with Google Classroom. When you do it the first time, you'll have a box, if you like, to suggest that you can join with Google Classroom. It'll give you an option to do so. And I haven't connected all of my classes. I've got several classes, and they're not all in here. So I've only picked the ones that I actually want, that I think I'll probably assign to. I wanted to, I think if I go in here, I wanted to add more. Connect LMS class. Yeah, Connect LMS class Google Classroom. So then you can click on that and it'll give you that option to pick up your Google Classrooms.
Okay.
Yeah, pick up your Google Classrooms and you can pick whichever ones you want. So let's say I was going to pick that one and connect it. And you can then import the classes. It does take a while to do that. It does take a while to connect and load those students. But when you do that, you can, let me look on here, you can then, the class members you have in your Google Classroom, you then have those class members in here as well. Okay, so they're assigned to you.
Could I, Sorry, Pam, just thinking in this role now, just trying to see if it would work. The students are invited into the Google Classroom for that particular session, and then there's 2 or 3 of us as online support, just saying, you know, go to the Meet, click on the Meet link or the chat thing. Could we create a subgroup with it, or do we have to invite the whole of the members of the Google Classroom? Do you see what I haven't said that very well, but can we create a small group?
So you've got maybe 25 people on the one Google Classroom, but you only want to see 3 at a time. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Just if you were really trying to hone it to those particular students.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So when you go into there and you assign it, let's go to if you click on the Edpuzzle thing, it'll take you back to the main page, and let's go and assign something, and we'll go through the process of assigning it. So let's assign this. I can always unassign it later. It's not a problem. So you'll come to your assign class, and I haven't gone through that choosing process, but I would imagine there may be a way for it. So I'm going to pick that classroom, and when you assign it, you can set when you want it. So if you wanted it today, that's fine. If you wanted it tomorrow, calendar comes up and you can pick any day you like. So you can set it up in advance, and it just goes in as a draft on your classroom. So let's do tomorrow, and due date, I'm going to say the 10th, okay? And you can change the time as well if you wanted to. I tend not to, unless I want it to start at a certain time. But for your time, you're down here for changing your time of when it is due and when it starts. And then you save that. This is where you do your prevent skipping. So if that toggles, and I think it's normally toggled off, you have to actively toggle it on to prevent them skipping through those questions.
Yes.
So you've got to remember to do that. And then you've got this option, do you want to post it on Google Classroom or not? Well, most of the time you do, so you would want to put that on. So then if you assign it, let's assign it. So now it's assigned, tells you it's posted on Google Classroom. It's not due to start till tomorrow, so it's not active. It tells you who's in that classroom. I think, no, yeah, that's your reset progress then. So that's you resetting things. So let's go to Classroom and find that assignment, and then I think you'd have to then edit it from there. Let's have a look.
Right. So there's no escape. There's even an option for you to see who's viewed it.
Absolutely, I'll show you in a minute. Yeah, it's great, and you get a little grade book as well. I mean, it's great. I love it. So this is the class that I set it to, I believe. I think I did, and there it is. So it's in a draft. It's scheduled. It doesn't automatically set it to a topic. So if you want it to a topic, you have to put it in a topic anyway. But then here, you've got your students option, haven't you? Okay, so from there you can uncheck and then check who you want. So that's how you would do that. So I think yes, it's a little bit of a roundabout way of doing it, but I think unless somebody else knows a different way, I haven't come across that yet. But it's great because then you can put it in the topic that you want. So if you've changed your mind about the scheduling, you can change it. You can change the points. If you didn't want to give them 100, you could give them 1. You can set it to the students. It's great. It's really useful. So I'm just going to schedule that, and then I'll just delete that because then otherwise I'll forget about it and they'll be saying we've done that already. So I'll just do that now. Otherwise I will forget. But yes, so that's the way to do that. So you can just select the people you want. So let's delete that assignment as well, and I will go into one I've done previously, and then we can see. Okay, so that's how you've connected your Google Classroom, you've set your assignment, and you can see there's a little dot here, red dot. There's new answers on this that I set last week, but I'm going to show you the Access English at the moment. So this is your grade book, and this is where your grades come in. And this is where you can see what they've done with what you've given them.
Right.
So you can switch between groups and classes that you've had. So we'll stay on English, and it gives you the scores of what they've achieved, how long they've spent on the time given. So you can see that this person hasn't done any of it at all.
Yes.
Now, what I did have the very first time I used it was people accessing it from home. And I think because I know that these two didn't not do it, they just didn't do it via the link I gave them. I set them a separate link because they couldn't access it from home for some reason. And I don't actually know why. It must have been the way they were logging in, or maybe they were using something like Safari or something rather than Chrome. A lot of these tools are not as compatible with things like Safari on the Apple iPads and things. So I suspect that might be a reason why. But however, you can see that for this video, inference and connotation, she spent 33 minutes on it. Didn't look at that one at all. Total time spent was 21 minutes. And go into that individual, they've got 33 out of 100 for the grade. Only watched 80% of the video, only had 2 out of 6 correct answers, and they didn't turn it in. So you can get quite a lot of data, and you can see that they haven't done all of the questions. They haven't even got as far as this end bit. And for all that you can stop them skipping the questions, you can't make them watch the whole thing. You know, obviously they can close it down.
Sorry, Pamela, would you then recommend, I know it's a bit sly possibly, but putting a question right at the end?
I've tried doing that, yeah. And this video here, I've got questions right at the end. They're just
right. I see. Sorry. Yes.
No, it's okay. Yeah, but yeah, it's like lots of things. You can give them stuff to do, but you can't make them do it. That's a little bit frustrating. And you know, these are adult students, and I think, you know, there's lots of other issues, like they were at home, they had children to look after, they were busy, and some of them were ill, so perhaps they just weren't in the best place. And when you're looking through your grade book, you can go through to your next student, and you can see that this person did do it all. She did 100% correct, watched all of the video, answered all the questions correctly, and it was a 10.5-minute video, but she spent 11 minutes on it. And it tells you when she handed it in and what time, gives you the answers that she's given. So what I've done is read them, and because what I wanted them to do is engage with it, not necessarily agree or disagree with what I might have said. I wanted them to look at their ideas, of course. So in terms of grading it, I literally just ticked whether they had actually done some inference or not, and given a reasonable answer.
Yes.
So when I was marking it, I really was just reading it and ticking it. What you can do is give your own comment, give your own feedback. So on some of them I did, but not all of them necessarily needed it. So you can, for each student, you can go through their answers, and you can go through and grade it. So what you can do is click onto here and change that score. If you think they were only halfway there, you could give them 50% out of 100, for example. Okay.
Right.
You know, this is when you're manually marking rather than your multiple choice. Multiple choice is all for you, which is useful at times.
So it's set at a default of 100 out of 100.
It is. Absolutely. Yeah. And again, he came in late. He didn't do that until the 10th of November, whereas the other person did it on the 3rd. That's Wayne rejoining. Hello. So you know, it tells you when they handed things in. He didn't even wait till the end of the video, just answered the quick question at the end and then handed it in. So it gives you quite a lot of data, sometimes a bit too much. You think, well, And this person only watched 30% of the video, obviously thought, I can't be bothered with that, and just didn't bother to, you know. So it's quite, I mean, it's interesting actually to see how they engage with it. So that's your grade book, and it is useful to just have a quick glance at that and also see who's done it, who hasn't done it. I have my other students. Let me quickly show you that group. And this is my anatomy and physiology group. And you can see that, you know, it's varied between scores, time spent. Some people won't have done any of it. So 3 videos missed on that person, for example. So it's quite good in keeping track of what you're able to do. There is obviously a button to export gradebook, but I haven't used that, so I don't know what it looks like. Probably goes into a spreadsheet, but I haven't used it. I didn't feel the need because it's connected to your Google Classroom. Let me show you that group, the anatomy and physiology classroom, and you will see that it's already graded it, and I'll show you what that grading looks like on a multiple choice question. If you bear with me a second. There we go. So in here, excuse me, I just need to get in the right tab. There we are.
That's fine.
There we go. So that's been connected via Edpuzzle, and it's been self-marked, and you can see automatically who hasn't done it. And these are the grades. Now, when it says not handed in, it means not handed in on Google Classroom, I think. Although it connects to it, it doesn't hand it in necessarily, but it marks it. So it doesn't matter that they don't hand it in on Google Classroom, as long as they finish it on Edpuzzle. So you can see the grades. You know, it's quite specific, 86.67. So it's great. It's quick. It's easy. If it's the sort of thing that you need to know whether do they know this or do they not know this, then it's a very useful tool to do the multiple choice self-marking, and you can see that it is quite good at getting those grades across and updating itself very, very easily. So it's minimal workload once you've set that up, and I think once you've got, I mean, I just picked this because I wanted to do the immune system with them, and I checked the questions. I added a couple of my own, and actually I had hardly to do any work to set this up, and it was already made for me. If you search for, let's search for metaphor, and sorry.
Would it be good, Pamela, for like, I know you're showing them a video, obviously, so you're giving them a head start anyway, but sort of like a pre-assessment to a topic, if it was a very basic video, you could then look at where are we coming from the very start.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. So let's say you wanted to look at this, you liked it. I mean, I haven't looked at it personally, but if you liked it and you wanted to use that, but this version hasn't got any questions in it, but if you go down, you can see that other people have already used it and put their own comments and audio on it. So you can then quickly look at that and think, are those the questions I would ask? And can I just pick that up and use it? So you might look at that. It's the same video, but it's got those questions in it.
Right.
So then you would then edit it, look at it, and see what are these questions? Are they the sort of questions that I would ask? And if they're not, you can jump to them and edit that question, or take it out, or you know, it can. I literally did something in about 10-15 minutes for one lesson, because there was something already there that was, because it's so factual, anatomy and physiology, it was easy to see, is that the question I would have asked? Yes, it is. And that's the correct answer that they put in. That's the other thing you've got to check, that sometimes the answers aren't the correct answers. And you know, can you use it quickly? And very often so far that I have experience, then yes, you can use it quite quickly. It's quite easy to then pick that up, assign it, and it's ready to use in Google Classroom. So in terms of teacher preparation, it can be quick, but if you're uploading your own video and doing your own content, obviously that takes more. But once you've got the resource, you've got the resource. It's like, you know, any sort of resource that you've created, it sometimes takes time, but you've then got that to work with again. So I think really that's kind of a summing up of Edpuzzle. I don't think, no, I have only used it briefly. I've only used it for the 2 types of students that I've had. But the feedback I've had has been very positive from them, very, especially the students who normally would not engage in class very well. They have liked it a lot. So I think it has its uses. It's not perfect. It's not a silver bullet, but it can be useful. Yeah,
it's another option. Can I just ask probably a really obvious and embarrassing question, but what is Loom? When you said about making your own, uploading your own video using Loom, I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, so you know, in your little grey puzzle piece up here,
right,
you've got, that's your extensions thing, and you can just get it on manage your extensions, and you can go to the extension store, your Chrome web store, and you can just search in here for Loom. And there it is. So there's your, and I've already got it, so it's added already, but you can just add it, and it links with your account. So I've already got it in there. You can see that it's connected to my account here. And then if you want to use it, you can, once it's in your extension, you can just go to Loom, sign in with your Google account, your college account again.
So the extensions are a bit like an app that you'd have on your phone.
Absolutely, yeah, that's a good way of thinking of it. Yeah. And then you can start to use it, except that it won't let me start to use it. Why won't it let me start? Yeah, so this will be, my videos will be in here. I've not done many, but there they are. So that's, I recorded in there, and I've done another one, a text analysis. And what else have I done? Oh, a test video. So, and it is really simple. Record a video. I'm just not even going to do this, but you record it. You can choose whether you want, you have to allow your camera and microphone, choose whether you want your screen and a camera, screen only, in which case it just brings your little icon down there, or camera only. So you've got those options. And if you wanted to see your little self down there, you could do, and you can make that smaller or bigger if you want it to be. Much, isn't it, really? Personally, I would do the screen only. Personally, set your mic settings and literally start recording. And when you start recording, you get down here, you get the option to pause, stop, and that's the good thing about it, is you can pause it, cough, whatever it is you need to do, and then you can start again without interruption. So it is very easy to use,
All right, thank you.
Might be worth a look at for that.
Definitely.
As well, yeah, it's great.
I've not heard of it before.
Yeah,
it's absolutely great for creating those little 5-minute how-tos, isn't it?
Yeah, I've done a few of those. Yeah, for students, I've got little bank of videos for students for how to submit an assignment and things like that. I was using Screencastify, which is another version, but it's, again, that's limited for the free version to 5 minutes per recording. Well, it's just not long enough often, so.
Talk fast.
Yeah, it does. Well, yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to know about Edpuzzle before we end?
No, that's really helpful. Thank you. As I say, I'm going from a completely flat start. So I've got the recording there, and I've been taking some notes as we go through. So I just think it's a case of having time.
Yes.
And some time off and just having a play with it, really.
Yeah, and I think that's it. That's what I did. Have a play with it, and you know, you either find it's useful and easy to use, and if it's not, then don't waste too much time on it. But I personally found it, you've got to be quite specific, I think, about what you want to find on it as a resource, or already have a video you created yourself that you can upload and edit.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like anything on YouTube, you can get lost down a rabbit hole of different videos of what you want to look at. But it might be a way into getting them engaged, and getting some feedback from them. And once they've done that, it might be a way of getting that conversation going, like you were saying.
Yeah, I think at this stage it's just actually getting the conversation open, actually like, hello, come and say hello. And then once you've got them, obviously then having something nice. I mean, they've got to work on Sentry, that's the thing, is you've got to balance what you would do. But I can certainly see even for other roles how that would be helpful.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And if you've got any questions, it's just pplumb@darlington.ac.uk. So you can just drop me an email if you want.
Yes, thank you. That's great.
That's okay, no problem.
Right.
You too. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Thank you very much. Thanks, Pam.
That's okay. You're welcome. I'm glad it was useful, Joanne.
Yes, it was. Thank you. I'll leave you to it. Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you. Good night.
Okay, bye. Bye.